Okay. お目にかかって嬉しゅうございます。Thank you, Nana Watanabe, for inviting me here. So today I'll be talking about the work I do to help make products, services, and financing affordable and helpful to low-income people, mainly in developing countries. So I'll be talking about some of my philosophy behind this and the strategies, and then also give you some very concrete examples of how we've humanized capitalism, how we've made products and services affordable to low-income people who otherwise wouldn't have these products and services. Okay, so why do we do this? There's a great disparity of wealth in the world. 1% of adults own 40% of the wealth, and 50% of the population owns 1% of the wealth. So this is quite a disparity, and I often think about it. Here in Japan, you have shiatsu as one of your medical systems. Shiatsu is about redistributing energy in the body. And so similarly, when you think of the global economic body, a lot of the work I'm talking about are examples of businesses that change the competitive landscape where the energy is redistributed really in favor of low-income people. So that's kind of what I'll be talking about today. So this humanizing capitalism, what does it mean? It's the choice to use profit and production capacity to serve people, to serve humanity. How do you maximize distribution while being profitable instead of just maximizing return on investment? As you know, most of the world operates today where companies, both public and private, have a legal, fiduciary, and ethical responsibility to do a return on investment to shareholders. And that is in large part why there's such a skewed distribution of wealth. A lot of these programs I'll be talking about have to do not with top-down philanthropy or commercial businesses that are just concerned with return on investment, but really what is the middle way? How do you use the tools and forms of business to create companies that maximize distribution while being profitable? If you think about top-down largesse in the form of philanthropy from taxpayers through governments, from development organizations, very little of it reaches the intended beneficiaries. I think the statistic somewhere is that only 19% of this global philanthropic or taxpayer money through philanthropy really reaches the people it was intended to help. So that's not really a solution. And the other thing I want to mention is I'm not talking about corporate social responsibility. This is something quite different. I'm talking about how do you create the form of an enterprise that is socially transforming at its core. Corporate social responsibility is all well and good, but it's really corporate philanthropy, which is usually less than 1%. And it's also about not harming the employees or the environment. What I'm talking about is something different. It's the form of a for-profit company that has in its DNA to be socially transforming. So let me, before I go into the different companies that I've helped develop, let me sort of walk you through the different things that I do to create these social enterprises. I demystify how much it really costs to make something. So I do what I call forensic cost accounting, which is really sort of like industrial spying, but where I'm not breaking any laws. I walk around an industry and I really get a sense of how much it really costs to make something. And always I discover that it really doesn't cost that much to make something. And most of my work has been with medical devices and pharmaceuticals. There you have a lot of products that already have a high margin, so figuring out how to make something affordable actually isn't that difficult. Then I look to see how I can control the technology to be in control of production and therefore pricing and distribution in order to be able to ensure pricing for affordability to the end user. And I also engage extreme technical competence. I go out and I find people who have already developed what I want to develop, and I work with them. So for instance, I set up a factory to make suture or a wound closure product in India. I'll be talking about it later. The guy that I found to work with was the former head of R&D for US Surgical, which is a big suture company. And so I find people that really know what they're doing, and I build companies around them. And then, perhaps most importantly, number 4 on this list, I deconstruct the supply chain. I look at all the margins and costs involved in the whole ecosystem, from raw material, manufacturing, distribution, all the way to the end user. And I look where the non-value added margin is. And that's the beginning point of reconstructing supply chains to reduce that non-value added margin. When I say non-value added margin, that's really the way the whole world operates, especially for medical products that are life-saving or give sight or give something important to us. They usually come with a very high margin. So almost always it's easy to identify where the margins are and then to construct novel ways of reaching the customer that bypass those very expensive supply chains. And then I create companies that transform the industry, where usually pricing is the weapon. I lower the price point dramatically. Like, for instance, I'll be talking about intraocular lenses that replace the cloudy cataract lens. We reduced the price from $300 a lens to less than $2 a lens. And that low price point changed the whole competitive industry, and I'll be talking about those forces. So what we do is we sculpt cost and margins to result in affordability while achieving reasonable returns. So I'll go to the